Alrighty, folks, and welcome to our Tuesday live stream. Today, I have Andrew from Combat Art Training. Say hi.
Hello.
And we've got John Willis from Special Operations Equipment. I'm Nicole Sauce from Living Free in Tennessee. And we get to talk all about homestead patrolling and anything else Andrew wants to talk about. Or if you've got questions, put the first couple words in all caps. But can we start with this? Who or what is an Andrew from Combat Art Training?
So I own a training company, and then also John here told me to buy a sewing machine. So I make gear, and I also show it to John to make sure that he approves of it. But the purpose of Combat Art Training, first and foremost, is to save lives, and we also want to make a cultural change. See, I'm wearing a tactical response shirt right now. They had a huge impact on me, and I want to have an impact like they did on the world. So we do training and we do gear, and then we want to do more later on.
And where are you operating out of?
I live in Fort McCoy, Florida, and then our classes are an hour 15 south at Leesburg, in Leesburg at Aries Training Facility. So kind of an hour north of Orlando. If you want to take a class, fly into Orlando. Flights are pretty cheap there.
What made you decide that was what you wanted to do with your life?
Well, getting out of high school, I either wanted to be in a touring death metal band or I wanted to go to Afghanistan. And I didn't have a band at all. So I had to go to Afghanistan, which probably isn't very logical, but that's what I did. And basically I didn't want a normal job. I hated high school. I hated middle school. I hated school altogether. The idea of working a normal job, I couldn't do it. So joining the Marine Corps, everyone's like, you don't need to do infantry, do this other stuff. That was the only thing I wanted to do. And then I got out. I worked normal civilian jobs, and basically all the ones I worked were geared towards getting me able to teach people better. So like stuff like training supervisor, doing door-to-door marketing so I could get used to talking to new people. I worked at a gun shop, and basically I would not sell the customer the thing they wanted at first. At least I would be like, hey, have you thought about this? Have you considered this? And trying to get my communication skills up so that it wasn't an argument of, the thing you want is stupid, this is what you should buy, but more, would you agree that? And basically just trying to sell only the shit they needed and not the shit they thought they wanted, And then after training at tactical response, I was like, yeah, fuck everything else. This is what I want to do. It was perfect timing with COVID too, where I was very unsure of what was going to happen with everything else. So I was like, I might as well just go into this.
How was it received when you first started doing it?
It was good. Of course, not everyone is supportive, but like some of my friends that are very close to me were very supportive. Buying, I was hand sewing slings at the time, and so they would buy those, and then people would show up to class, and it was perfect timing to start training because everyone bought their first gun, and everyone who already had a gun realized, I guess people will burn down a neighborhood and beat people to death in the streets. I should probably learn how to actually use this. So it was pretty good timing for that.
Yeah, something I find interesting about gun culture on the internet is every time you do anything with a gun or talk about something with a gun, there's always this subset of people who probably don't know how to use their guns very well, who come in and tell you why you're doing it wrong, why what you're doing is stupid, and why what you're doing won't work, so you might as well not try.
Yes. And so I've been copying the thing that Yeager used to do. I never used to read Yeager's comments, but he said one time that what he'll do is he'll post his resume and say, here's my resume, post yours. So I just started doing that, and it shuts down a lot of people, and then a lot of people won't post theirs, and they'll still argue their dumb little point, But yeah. It's cancer, It's like James would say, there's the gun community and the gun culture, right? So you've trained taking fighting pistol now, right?
Yeah.
What else have you done?
I've done fighting pistol twice. Once in a dress, once not in a dress.
That's awesome. Yeah. So now you are entering gun culture, right?
Yeah.
And you see, the more you talk to people, you're like, oh, I thought it was just this thing where people carried guns and took a class, and you're learning like, oh, this goes way deeper than I ever imagined, right? So you're getting into that part. The gun community, they're just a bunch of turds, right? I mean, there's some nice people, but it's not the same thing. And you'll find people in the gun culture are actually going to support you, want you to do better, and want you to find more better information and go down your path further.
Yeah, I would say I get more people when I get a troll, because I attract trolls. When I get a troll on a gun topic, I get more people jumping in before I've decided if I'm going to answer or not, answering the troll than on any other topic.
That's awesome.
That just means I need to make more gun videos. I'm pretty sure.
Everyone else who is not doing that right now needs to follow you and keep their eye out and crush them.
To just crush.
Yes.
Crush the people who might own a gun but haven't taken it out of the box. That's what I'm always thinking when they're saying stuff like that. It's like, you have an unopened box with a gun in it, or you're thinking about which gun you want and you've been thinking about it for 10 years.
Well, it's out of the box. They own the gun, but it's not loaded. It's not on their body, and they freak out if it is loaded.
Yeah.
But you're going to find that's the case. That's the case everywhere, as you know, Andrew. It doesn't. It's not. It's fitness. It's business. It's anything. When you get a dude coming on that's rabidly taking issue with what you said, that's not a dude that's successful. The dude that's successful and truly knows that he is right and you are wrong, he's not going to do that shit publicly. He's going to reach around through back channels, or he's going to PM you and go, "Hey, check this out." It's the same everywhere, man. And you're doing it. You know, you're going to run out of time doing it. You're going to spend too much time doing that and not enough time making money.
Yeah.
So there has to be a careful balance there. It doesn't work like it used to, but use it to your advantage, spike the algorithm and get new followers. What's your Instagram at right now?
Oh, my Instagram is not growing. I stopped caring about it. I'm just barely over 1,000, but for the amount of posts I put and trying to do the right hashtags and everything,
What's your TikTok?
TikTok, I'd have to look.
Where are you doing all this at?
Mostly right now I'm doing YouTube.
Okay. What's your YouTube at?
I just broke 6,000 like 2 days ago.
What were you at like 30 days ago?
5,000.
Right. So it's working.
Right.
You just jumped 1,000, right? Now all you need to do is convert 1% of that 1,000 to real customers.
Exactly.
And I threw his YouTube link in the comments, everybody, in case you haven't followed combat art training yet. Like, go do it right now.
Basically with my content right now, there's my old long form videos, and that's the stuff I wanted to watch, right? The stuff that I'm like, I wish this video had been made so I could watch this. And it may be very similar to something else you've seen, but it's got the nuggets in there that I'm like, I wish the videos had said these things. Now, what I've been posting for like the past month or so is YouTube Shorts. You will still love those. They're just not as long form content. They're made to be a little bit controversial, but there's always a learning point or a positive message within it, even if it seems like I'm just trying to piss people off. I am, and it's working, and it's getting me people, but there's still things in there that you can learn. And I have converted some people over to my side. So with all the hate, it's worth it for those guys.
You still need to take that content that you're putting on TikTok and put it on Instagram. You really need to put it on X also. Even if you just copy paste the same thing and put the raw clip up there, it needs to go there, even if you're not getting traction on it, because you're going to have a history. When people reach out to me and want to do something, hey, I can do this thing for you, or hey, you should work with my company, the first thing I do is look at their social media.
Right.
If they don't have a footprint, we're not doing shit with that guy. I don't care. You could be the best dude in the world. If you don't have a social media footprint and you want to do social media business with us, we're not touching you, because there's 1,000 dudes the next 30 days that have the evidence of it. And there's more money coming from it's kids on TikTok. You're getting some stuff, but your real money is going to come from Instagram as well as Twitter, now that Twitter's doing videos. And I tell you this as a dude who just posted the first video on Twitter yesterday in like all this year probably. I think it's valuable enough that I'm taking the same stuff and putting it there.
So the thing that I was wondering with that is everything I've seen, it says that if you post the same content on multiple platforms, then
I'm the one that told you that.
Yeah. So what I was going to try to do is keep each thing to it, or each platform to its own type of content. So YouTube is mostly gun stuff. TikTok, I'm not going to show a gun at all anymore because I've gotten in trouble for it, even though not even a round was fired, and I'm not going to call people retards on there anymore because I got in trouble for that too. But then Instagram is pretty much, they're like people I know personally. So it's kind of like, I kind of treat that as like a friend group thing. And I can go, hey, we got this stuff for sale, or look at this funny thing. It's keeping engagement that way. But like when I look at the pie chart, it's like 1 or 2 people who aren't followers are the ones who see it, even if 1,000 people see it. So,
but you just said you don't have time for the other. So take the content that you're already using, put it up there, and just start populating it. People are going to find it. People are going to share it, especially those little nitpicking bitches off TikTok where you rebuttal them. Put it up there. It's going to go. It'll take time. It's going to go though. If you don't have time to do the other, do that, and take your YouTube, your Instagram page, convert it to a business page today if you haven't, and then you can post your own group stuff under your page, and then you can post that other stuff under Combat Art Training's business page. That way, when you have your catalog set up, you can now put a hyperlink in there where they can go straight to your shopping cart. And notice on every video, I've got a link to whatever shirt I'm wearing. That's how they buy those things. It's because it's a business page. Set it up now. Don't wait and go, man, I wish I'd have done this a year ago.
Yeah, I had a business page and I put it back to a personal one or whatever, so I could use like good music on the videos, but it's not growing anyway. So I'll do that next.
Yeah, I had that same struggle on TikTok where it was like, I want to put fun songs on and it won't let me put fun songs on. But I can say, like, I took this advice and started just posting my shorts on everything. Mm-hmm. And what I've noticed is, after I've only been doing it about a month, what I've noticed is certain, like, totally different topics are hitting on different platforms. And TikTok was doing okay for a while, but now it's not awesome. But YouTube and Instagram are doing way better all of a sudden. So for me, that I figure, it doesn't hurt, even if it is exactly the same video. I just make sure the TikTok logo isn't on the platforms and see what happens.
Just post the raw. You're going to do better with unique content. But I mean, we set at 25,000 on Instagram and YouTube for over a decade.
Right.
We just doubled everything this year, and the only thing we've been doing are those shorts.
Okay. Yeah, it's weird because even Ashley, she crushes it on TikTok. Have you, Nicole? Have you seen her TikTok?
Yeah, she has great TikTok.
Instagram, she got her first video to go over 10K recently, and it's like she's not controversial at all. She's healthy soap.
Yeah, but. That goes where it goes. It's funny how we always end up back on the social media topic, John, when we're talking to folks.
Well, because no matter what, despite what people want to tell you, if you have a business and you're not in social media, you're missing most of your business.
Oh yeah, yeah. And lots of those guys are just like they're too humble, either that or they're afraid of the criticism.
No, they're making excuses for their inaction.
Yeah.
Why do they care what you're doing? That's horseshit. Don't have a conversation with that person. Exactly. Which of the businesses between Healthy Soap Mama, Combat Art Training Gear, and Combat Art Training, which one makes the most money?
Probably Combat Art Training Gear right now. Right now, training classes are all slow for everyone. So
how much of your life does that take?
The gear part, it's probably most of it. Yeah. And Ashley, though, I have to say, she is crushing it with soap. Like, she's been getting a lot of like wholesale orders. There's a Flat Earth group, and they're selling her stuff, and I'm like, man, I would have thought they would have come to me. I'm like, I'm like, pretty much, I believe in every conspiracy theory until someone points out why it's wrong right now.
I really thought the soap was going to make the most money. That's what I thought you were going to say.
Yeah, right now, I don't know. She may be caught up. It may be like my 2 is equal to hers. I don't know. I haven't really looked at, but she's been doing really well.
I definitely see her. So I notice when I suddenly start seeing somebody's stuff all the time in my feed that's not like just the timeline feed. And in the last 3 weeks, all of a sudden I see like everything she does. If she sneezes online, it's like, oh, there it is.
Yeah, right.
Sneeze, And then other people will just like John, of course, disappears, and I have to go back and refollow him from time to time, which is I haven't seen a notice of one of John's lives in 2 months. So when I get on lives, I have been poking around trying to find his live. And then the next morning, I'll see that Amanda shared it on Facebook.
See, I've gotten it too where I don't really see my notifications at all anymore because I've just like been trying to not look at my phone like for first 2 hours in the morning. Like I might text, Kelly, my operator, I might be like, hey, I'm here or whatever. But other than that, I try not to look at it for the first 2 hours. Then I might like in between breaks of like, so this as hard as you can. All right, give your mind a break for a second. I might look and then so this as hard as you can. And I'll just do that all day. But I've gotten to a point where I get so few notifications and it's just a thing to keep my face off the screen, so that I'm not digging into my phone too much.
Is it that you're not getting notifications or you're not paying attention to notifications?
I've tried to make it to a point where it's like my phone doesn't make any noise.
So you've turned it. So you've just turned it all off. They're still there.
I've tried to make it so that it's like I go on intentionally.
Got it. Got it. I started turning my phone off at night. I powered all the way down and I put it. It's at least 6 feet away from the bed. And I don't know. Maybe I'm imagining it, but I feel like I sleep better. I actually took the laptop out of the room last night, put it out in the other room. I'm going to start actually killing all of the Wi-Fi in the building at night. We're just going to put everything on a switch or a timer so that all the Wi-Fi, there's no signal in the building at all at night.
Right. And even like if you feel like you're sleeping better from that,
right? Does it matter?
It's not a placebo if it works.
Yeah.
Yeah. My phone goes in silent in another room at night, and I started doing that about a year ago, and it's been a lot better. I mean, this close to SRF, I wake up every 2 hours going, wait, another thing I thought about, but that's just normal. That's just part of the cycle.
Nicole, do you still have a phone in your room?
No.
So just something to consider, having an emergency cell phone. Doesn't have to be on or anything like that. But if someone broke in and you had to stay in your room, having the ability to call 911, just consider that also. It can be I
have thought about that, and you're not wrong. I have not solved for that, but I mean, I could just turn my cell phone all the way off too. That would serve the same purpose of having it across. So yeah. People keep saying I've resubscribed to SOE and other pro-American Patriot channels daily.
Yeah, we hear it every night. You'll have 24 guys every night saying they can't find the videos.
I'll say this: when I became a member of SOE, I didn't have to resubscribe since that has happened, but the notifications sometimes come and sometimes don't.
Yeah, and if you're in our private group, Amanda always posts a link in our private group. So if you're a member in there, you can find it.
And you guys need to become a member on the SOE YouTube channel. It is awesome. I waited for a while because, like I said, I was trying to just not watch YouTube stuff. But when I did, the member meetings, that's my favorite thing because there's the most stuff about business and dealing with people, I learn so much from that. And then I love also pulling the thread because – I mean, sometimes the problem is Scully makes me miss the Marine Corps when I know, like, I don't recommend military service, but he's like, I don't know. It's just like, it's kind of like a trip back for me, I love Scully's stories.
He's just so articulate. That's what I like about him.
It's not the same place. It's not the same place. You know that.
Yep.
So, okay. Nicole, what is your next class going to be?
Next class on what?
What's the next class you want to take in
world? So I was going to take the fight next. And then I talked to somebody else and they said, take advanced fighting pistol first. Cause I've already taken the emergency medical.
You need to take medical again.
I would like to take medical again, actually.
I will suggest take the fight next.
The fight before advanced fighting pistol?
Yeah, because
that's what was originally on my list for next.
After you take the fight, you will become the perfect student. You will get more out of every class because you went through the fight. And and it's the thing that would prepare you for a fight, in my opinion, more than anything else.
Right.
Haas GS14 asks Andrew, is it true that the High Point is your favorite pistol?
No.
He didn't ask that. You can see there.
No, he says, what is your favorite firearm to train with?
Okay. Well, like you shouldn't be like married to this type of gun, but one of my Glocks, Glock 19 or Glock 45, I basically have a bunch of Glock 19s and Glock 45s. Next, I want to get a bunch of Palmetto State Armory daggers and start testing those. The reason for that is I was a rifleman in the Marine Corps, so the idea of taking a rifle class sounds boring to me, okay? But pistol is harder to shoot. It's what I carry every day, and if you've ever gone out and shot long distance with a pistol and hit a target 100 yards away, it's like the ultimate dopamine rush. It's great. So I enjoy pistol classes as far as, practicing with my pistol more than any other gun. But my favorite classes to take are, number one, force on force. I want to take more of that. I want to role play more in that. And then medical is something that I want to be able to say, I want to have the same level of knowledge as an 18 Delta and be just as proficient, if not better. That would be a special forces medic. And then I really like tactics driven classes. So the funnest Green Line tactical class I took was shoot house level 1. You don't shoot that much. You have a UTM bolt, but it's all about room clearing, and you're working with a buddy, and then you're working with a team. So now you got to work with other people, which is a struggle point in its own. And then it's just dissecting angles. How do we move through here safely? What is a risk versus what is a gamble? And it's a big thinking man's game. Kind of like I'd say the most mentally taxing class I did at Tactical Response was low light building clearing. It was the most chill, but it's like when you're moving through the shoot house in the dark and there's stuff you're knocking over and stuff, it really makes you think hard. So, to make a long answer longer, pistol.
Did you do the aerial platform class?
No, but I'm going to be at the night one that's in Mayaka coming up here soon. There's 2 spots left, greenlinetactical.com. If you want to take that, it's in Mayaka, Florida. I'll be there selling gear. Don has been super cool to me. He invited me.
Okay. Go ahead.
I've never met him, not one time.
He's a nice guy. You'd like him.
Well, he should come to Self Reliance Festival so he can meet you.
Hopefully. His schedule is crazy booked. But yeah, they're doing another one, aerial target engagement. And from what I saw, it's it's this nice ranch. There's mansions on it and whatnot. 15,000 a ticket. Crazy.
Yeah, it's a high end deal.
Yeah,
it's pretty high end. I think Bob's talking about hosting him out at their place.
Oh, that would be great, Bob. You should do that. You'll like Don if you haven't trained with him yet.
Yeah, Bob's doing some pretty cool stuff. I need to catch up with him when I see him.
And I really like that they're doing that because it's taking this industry to another place, another level. So we need more of that. Like I was saying, it's not so much the shooting classes that I enjoy. It's more, force on force, medical and tactics driven stuff. So we need more stuff that's not bring 1,000 rounds to the range for 2 days,
Yeah, we had somebody in our community I think it was over the weekend, have to tap into his stop bleed training in a situation where he was at the grocery store and a random misfire of a firearm that a dog hit in a car went into the chest of somebody, 22. And And the emergency, like the police didn't have what they needed to do anything, and he happened to have his kit. That person did not live, but yeah. I was like, but he lived longer than he would have if you wouldn't have been there, and that doesn't help at all with the psychological part of that. But yeah,
that was Dean, and he had a vehicle med bag, and everybody that arrived on scene didn't have shit to help that guy. They weren't even sure what had happened to him. Guy had a 22 rifle in the back, and the dog discharged the rifle, and it got him in the lung, I believe.
Oh,
yep.
Yeah.
Well, that was good job, Dean. Good job.
I know, and I mean that's why I hear a lot of guys all into the gun classes. The medical class is equally important.
Yeah, I'd say more important. I made a video, and it's funny. People like they talk shit on it, but I put a timer up, and I was like, "Hey, I always see people practicing emergency reloads, but I never see them practicing a tourniquet application underneath the timer, and I'm putting on a tourniquet while I do it. I'm like, what do you think you're more likely to need?" And people are like, well, you only need the tourniquet if you're not good at reloads. Like, no, you can be the best reloader dude in the world and still get hit by a fucking car. Could you go driving on a road where people are high and have had no sleep and they're looking at their phone?
It's this thing, man. It's going to kill them.
And then it was really funny because, like, and Nicole, for you, I learned way more in immediate action medical than I did in combat lifesaver as a Marine. And for like resetting the tourniquets, you remember that? I never learned that in the Marine Corps. So I used to have it in my brain that a cat tourniquet takes 15 rotations. That's because we didn't learn how to reset them. That also means we never had a properly staged tourniquet. So think about how many people die just because of that, right? So like when I say this is about saving lives, that's the type
turn.
Wow. Yeah, on the win list, because you practice with that tourniquet over and over and over.
Yeah, and it's stretched.
Now it's sticking out like that because I never taught to restage it. The simplest thing in the world. And I teach tourniquets in Carry Pistol 1, Rifleman 1, Carry Pistol 2, Rifleman 2, and I've shown resetting the tourniquet to a cop, EMT, an Army medic, trauma surgeons. None of them have ever seen that. Something so simple. Now, a note on that too, to drive that point home further about Dean. I used to work with a cop at a gun store, and he was telling a story of how when he was a police sergeant in St. Pete, he came up on one of his officers responding to a car accident. Now, this woman had her arm lopped off in that car accident, right? Now, he was applying aid to her. What was he doing?
Applying pressure or no? No?
John, what do you think?
I don't know. You're going to tell me he's tourniquet in the wrong arm or tourniquet in the severed arm? What was he doing?
Chest compression.
Emptying the blood out further?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's be your own first responder, right? Would you want him showing up? You're going to be there. So even if the right person's there at the right time, what are they really going to do? Do they have the proper mindset, tactics, skills, and gear to handle that situation? You can't guarantee that. So it has to be you, right? But yeah, so just to drive that point home, if y'all don't have medical training, you're wrong. Like if you own 4 guns and no medical class certificate, you are wrong.
Well, and then John's right. I need to take immediate action medical again or other medical, like immediate response classes, because even though I've taken it, things get stale.
Yeah,
if you haven't done them.
There might have been something that they explained perfectly and everyone else got it, but you, for whatever reason, the second, third time you take it, you're like, oh, I got it now. I have those moments all the time.
I think the medical class was the most important one for my mindset change.
Mm-hmm.
Even though my mindset keeps changing, like it's a work in progress, but that one was like, it got me over the biggest humps I needed to get over.
When's the last time you pulled a gun out and had to shoot somebody? I mean, versus the last time you had to save Tactical's life. I mean, that dude's going to something's going to happen to him once a month. I really think you're doing it to him personally, but something's going to happen to him once a month.
He works pretty hard, which then puts you in the way of dangerous situations.
Sure. Yeah.
So,
sure.
you know.
But yeah, if you can do whichever one first that you want, Nicole. If you want to retake immediate action medical, or if you want to take the fight, I'd say it's based off your schedule. But just I would say if you can do either one, take the fight. You will go back and practice your.
No, I
medical.
see. Knowing what the fight does, I absolutely know I need to take that
Yeah.
because I have not had to handle my firearm while real people are trying to
Yeah.
take it from me, for example.
It's a lot more than that. You know, it's
But
it's the decision making and am I going to fight, flee? Am I going to be a witness? You know, what am I going to do? Because, you know, the shooting part is that much. Now, I want to do a class where it's all, we're just shooting the fuck out of each other with UTMs, you know, so that you get, all that stress that you get, you're just inoculated to it and you can handle it better. You're like, whatever, I have to draw my gun and shoot this person. They're shooting at me. No big deal. But like, it's more about the, you know, you can shoot, you cannot shoot, or it's based on what you do in that scenario. Yeah. It's more about that. That's important.
Here's one from Bob. He says, take a live tissue lab, game changer.
So a lot of people in here probably don't know what that is. Explain what a live tissue is, Andrew.
So live tissue would be real, like pigs with real wounds, and you have to save them. So it's like, yeah, we can work on dummies, we can work on ourselves, all that, you know, and that's great. But a live tissue lab is where you actually are saving a life. And it's a lot harder too, because, you know, that pig's not happy. He probably did that with Chuck Peoples and Jerry Nuss. I'm trying to bring that to Florida. We want that to happen more. Screwed up thing is too, when I was in the Marine Corps, I could have gone and done one, but I wasn't into it back then, you know. So now I regret it and I feel like an asshole for it. But now I want to be at the next live tissue lab. Like that's
Rebecca.
important.
I'm sorry, Rebecca, let me know which classes you want to take today, because one of them has one seat left. So
Evan asked what a UTM round. It's a lipstick round. It's another brand of Simunitions. Simunitions was kind of tight with their stuff, and they wouldn't let a lot of schools have them. So UTM's like, we'd be happy for you guys to have them. So it's the difference between what a blue wax round and a red one. I think there's a little bit of difference to it.
Yeah, and from what I've been learning, apparently UTMs are a little bit more reliable with the way the cartridge is constructed. But it's like you can talk to 5 different people about which they like best, and they'll give you different answers.
It's like shooting a paintball gun, but it's more accurate, and it's on a real rifle platform. They're going to basically take and put a complete upper on there that is an upper of an AR-15. Just think of it like a paintball gun.
Well, with UTM, you can actually just change out the bolt. Also. So, but yeah, for like I have 2 UTM Glock 17s, and it's just a different slide change out, and they don't accept a live round when you have it in there either. So there's a lot of good safety protocols that are built in.
Prepared Citizens trying to plug his product here. Go ahead. Tell him what it is. Do you know what his product is, Andrew?
No, I've not seen it.
So he's got a cool mount, goes on pick rail that holds a tourniquet on there.
Yeah, I've heard about that. I didn't get a chance to get with you. I was at Alumni Weekend. If you want to send one out, just go ahead. I would say email me. I'll see that first, and I'll give you my address if you want. We'll try to put it on like a rental gun.
Andrew will destroy it for you. I mean, he'll torture test it. That's a good place to send it for sure.
Oh, Andrew and I have that in common. We like to destroy things. Okay, so I'm going to change the subject a little bit here and talk about Homestead Patrolling, because you're doing a Homestead Patrolling class on Monday, October 16th. Is it a 1-day or 2-day class? I was a little confused about that.
2-day.
2-day class. Okay.
Yep.
16th and 17th. That's Monday and Tuesday after Self Reliance Festival at the Special Operations Equipment compound. Why? Let's start first. Why would a homesteader want to take that class, or a non-homesteader? Why would anybody want to start with that class?
Because if you don't know how to move from point A to point B without making a lot of noise and tactically, you'll probably die. Like if there's bad guys around that you're worried about and you don't know how to move, it's not a good time to figure it out. So what that class is Prepare Patriot wanted me to put it together. And funny thing, again, I didn't appreciate that they have not done this since I was an infantry Marine. That's just what we do all the damn time. It's mostly walking around or sitting in a hole and wanting to go home. So I took the 3 TAC 11 publication, Infantry Tactics for the Marine Corps, skimmed it down, made it simpler, and put it in the context of, you're not military and there's no one who can help you. Like if one of you gets shot, then everyone's going to have to carry you back, right? If you get into a fight you can't handle, there is no helicopter that's going to come help you. So if you have a homestead, right, you have this property, you need to make it safe. So you're going to have to walk around that property. At some point, you'll probably have to leave that area and go from point A to point B. So how do we do that safely, tactically? Other considerations, are we trying to be known? Like, do we want other people to see, oh, there's a bunch of dudes with cool gear and cool rifles walking around this property, we shouldn't mess with them? Or do we not want to be seen, right? So there's different discussions we'll have in class on that. Then, okay, you've got your group of people that you've all agreed, like, hey, if things go bad, come to my place. We're going to protect this area together. You probably don't have a very steady hierarchy. So there's not really a chain of command who's in charge. And that could make things get really stupid later on when big decisions have to be made. So we should probably agree on those things first. And then the patrolling aspect, right? There's all these formations and stuff we could use. We took and got rid of most of them, kept it to the simpler ones. When we're crossing a danger area, like a big open field, bridge, somewhere like a road, something like that, somewhere where it's like they're probably watching this spot, or we could easily come in contact with enemy. There's a million ways we could do that. We took the simpler ones. We're putting it in that class. So kind of like dumbing all that shit down, which is a good thing. Okay. Simplifying it. So we're always doing the same stuff. And then also like hand and arm signals, how long have you gone without talking when you're around a group of people and just doing stuff like, right? So being able to actually do that in the woods and understand each other. So we practice all that stuff. So it's basically, we do some talking, some whiteboard stuff. We go patrol. We come back. We kind of go over what happened in the patrol. Then we add some stuff with some more whiteboard stuff and we apply it. And we're doing that over and over and over and building up on the skills we have in the patrol. So to make a long answer longer, you want to take that class so that if you have to secure your homestead or leave your homestead, you can do that in a safe manner and everyone gets home alive. Or if you come in contact with someone who wants to fight you, you don't die.
That's what Scully was saying. He said, for 10 acres of property, you really need 20 guys to do it for real. LPLP, 10 on, 10 off, 5 on during the day, 10 at night, 10 more to fight. When are you putting in trenches? When are you putting in gabion barriers? Difference between sandbags and, bags filled with rocks ricochet, funneling them to the point of least resistance. Anybody can cut through triple wire, but most people get caught up in triple wire, the average dude. So there's a lot to that. A lot of people with a homestead go, we live out, rural, and I got a couple dudes that live here. You're in for a rude awakening. And most of it is just being bored. It's 98% being bored and 2% of just, pure fright or, being prepared for the fright. You put a dude in front of a camera monitor, in front of a monitor, he's not going to look at that motherfucker for more than 30 minutes. You got to break them every 30 minutes and bring in new eyes to it. They're just not paying attention. Absolutely. And especially if you got 2 guys there, it's just normal site security shit.
Yeah. And yeah, like you said, the boredom, right? So you'd want definitely 20 people to secure your compound. I mean, you'd want 100 people to make it actually secure.
Yeah, minimum 20.
So that was like Yemen for me, right? when we went, they wanted an infantry unit to go guard the embassy in Yemen because Benghazi had happened. So we were the first infantry unit to go out there, and there was the Sheraton Hotel where I was at, and across the street was the actual embassy. So State Department personnel would always go to that hotel. And dude, it was like 6 months of just post and patrolling the outside, patrolling the inside. And it was every day was wake up and you're on post for 5 hours standing, no chairs, right? Then you had 10 hours of quick reaction force with a post inside where you're staring at an elevator or a staircase for 2.5 hours. So 5 hours on the roof, 10 hours QRF, and then you go back on the roof for another 5 hours, and then you got 9 hours of rest. It was just that every day for 6 months straight, right? And honestly, that was way more stressful than Afghanistan was.
Yep. I'm just showing people that you have a really handy product on your website, which is combatarttraining.com. If you go to selfreliancefestival.com and click on the tickets tab under workshops, there's a link that takes you straight to this class because it's right after Self Reliance Festival. And you can take the 2-day patrolling the homestead class by buying it there. You can see it's right there, the class date, 10/16 and 10/17. And then there's a lot of really handy information on what you want to bring to the class. But if you're already coming to SRF, this is a great add-on right afterwards, and it will give you some skills that you may not have ever thought about building into your life. So if you have the extra 2 days, man, definitely think about taking this. Or you can go to combatarttraining.com and you just click on his classes, and it's, what's the category? It's specialized training. It's under specialized training. So that one is actually in Camden, Tennessee.
If you scroll down a little bit, that logo with the P right there, that is Preluctus Training. Jay Gibson, who is a tactical response instructor, also owns Preluctus Training. And he said he would be able to join us for this one. So you also get his input. It's not just me teaching it the whole time. I have lots of sections where I have him talk about stuff, give his input. And with addition, I mean, you can go to his website, see all the stuff he's done. But with addition to be a tactical response instructor, he was also Marine Corps Scout Sniper, and he worked at Special Operations Training Group, training Marines there.
Scully's coming out too.
Hell yeah.
You're going to have all the fun people. We're going to have Jill Salatin on Compound on Monday with you.
So. Is Scully going to wear a ghillie suit?
He said he's going to do Op 4 for you.
All right.
Yep. Okay, I just wanted to make sure people knew how to sign up for that class, because I'm sure that we could figure out how to sign them up at the festival, but if they get it in advance, it's done. And then I don't know how many seats you have available, but I know that things like this sell out. So,
John, did you say it was okay for guys to camp out on your property for that class?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, cool. So if you don't have a place to stay, communicate with me. I'll communicate with John, but you can camp out there. Thank you for that.
Yeah.
And that's tent camping in the camping area. So that's all the fun stuff. Okay. I wanted to make sure we got that in there and that people understood the value of it, not just like the title of it, because,
Right. Thank you.
Sure.
Yeah, it was it was a class that, like I said in the beginning, I didn't appreciate, because I was like, that's what I always did. But then like when I started writing it out, because I was like, whatever, it's simple, you go into formation, use hand arm singles, and I was writing it out, and I was like, there's a lot in here, and especially just playing a patrol, different checkpoints. How are we going to communicate with the people back home? What is their plan if anything goes on while we're out? I was like, okay, there is a lot.
Well, and it doesn't hurt to have those conversations and figure that stuff out for your own property, whatever, whether you're suburban, urban, rural, whatever that is. What does this look like? And that's something I never thought about for many years here until all the riots in 2020 started happening. And then I started asking tactical, have you ever thought about these things? And he's like, oh yeah, this is my plan. I'm like, well, I need to know your plan because I'm in the plan and I don't know my role in the plan. Right. So I think it may be kind of weird or uncomfortable for some of us to start thinking about all the stuff that could happen that's, scary and violent. But if you know what your role is in that, then if something does happen, you know what to do.
Yes.
As opposed, like something goes bump in the night, what's the first action I should take?
Yeah.
Should I run outside and scream at the bump? Maybe I should figure out what the bump is first.
Right.
So, yeah. And who should I alert and how should I alert them? And that's the fact that we had that conversation means that every time Tactical hurts himself somewhere else in the network, we know what we're doing to go figure out where he is and what we need to do. But John thinks I'm beating him, so
Yeah, not only the power tools, carrying distance and alerting people, the smell of burning meat. How many guys plan to I'm going to barbecue outside? Yeah, you absolutely probably are. But who hungry is going to smell that, and where is that going? Like, people, they're going to key into that when they're hungry. They're going to know where that's coming from, even if they don't see the smoke. They're going to find the meat.
Yeah, and I was thinking about when I was writing that class too, is I was like, yeah, you can have everything you need on your compound, but like, do you have a doctor? And if there's a doctor a mile down the road, and someone's foot is messed up, we're probably going to take them there, or for instance, like, for me, I'd have to go. It's not far for me to get water. I can get water right over there. But for someone on the other side of the road over here, it'd be dangerous for them to go get water in a neighborhood they don't know,
Well, the water is always the watering hole is where everything gets eaten.
Yeah, that's good. I have a class notes thing. I'm going to write that down. I'm going to quote you on that.
Who's making that t-shirt?
And how many guys, I'm sure not people in here, but your average U.S. citizen that's going to go get water out of the stream, the pond, the lake, or the ditch, they're going to die from that.
Yeah.
There's not, we don't, every time I say this, somebody's like, no, we have them. We don't have Boy Scouts anymore. Not like we used to have Boy Scouts. Yes, there are a few, but it's not a big thing. It doesn't, like, I went to church and we had, Boy Scouts at church. We had men taking all the boys out and teaching them, how to collect water, and took them out shooting the first time and taught them knots and bushcraft. That shit doesn't exist anymore. Like, that used to be in school.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why you have to have those classes there, John. Didn't you have a chainsaw class there this year?
We did.
How do you use a chainsaw without cutting your leg off?
You and Pierre said you wanted to do like a man camp type thing, right? Where it's like learn how to change tires and stuff. Yep. You still down for that? Can we get someone?
Yeah, Chris Costa said he's in. Everybody said they're in. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have a person in charge of getting that going yet?
You.
All right. We'll get that going then. Should we base it around the dates of Self Reliance Festival, the next one coming up?
We'll talk about it between now.
Okay.
We'll figure that out.
All right. Sweet.
Yep. Yeah. Smelling food was one of those things that really stuck with me when Jake and Herman did his talk at SRF.
Yeah.
Jacob needs to put books out. Jacob has, like, the podcast we did and the podcast James did with Jacob, Bread Grinders Don't Shit Bread. I think that's what it was called. There's actually 17 of those. You heard, half of one of them.
Yeah.
Yep. Wrangler Star wants to do it too.
Yeah, Wrangler. I wasn't going to put that out there, but yeah, they're coming in.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. Okay, so 2020 is when you got serious about this. What has been the hardest thing you've had to overcome while starting your own thing?
Getting students is the hardest thing. Trying to grow channels, like you see, a lot of what I was doing on YouTube was trying to copy like the formats that John and Yeager were doing, where it's like a simpler YouTube format, where it's like Yeager would get in front of the camera without a cut. He would just talk through the thing and explain the thing, and it works really well. Now we all have what Ashley and I call TikTok brain, where, we need a 30-second thing, and, like Ashley.
It's hard, man. It's hard.
We're
all that.
even talking memes sometimes, like will say a thing from a meme as a response to something they're saying. And so trying to adapt to that, and put more effort into it is big. I will say I've been very fortunate with my students as far as how many I've had come in. And I will say too, a big part of it, if you're struggling with business or something, I think visualization is huge to it. Like I should just make a video on all the things I visualized that have happened. Doing videos with you, John, was one of them. Coming onto this right now was one of the things I visualized. Recently, I was like, man, I had students for a while. I really hope there's a bunch of people that show up to my shotgun class. I literally had to borrow steel from my students, steel targets, to make that class happen. I had so many people, So, and trying to learn the rhythm. That's like a part of why John is my favorite business owner, is because anything I look at that he's doing, I feel lazy. It doesn't matter what I've done that day. I'm like, shit, 4 a.m., worked out 3-4 times today, broke all the boulders in the yard, like everything. I'm like, damn, like just like accomplishing so much. So trying to find that groove, that rhythm, that's been a struggle. Part of, John, why I was wanting to look at getting a shop or like 20 minutes from here was just so that there'd be less interruptions and distractions while I'm working. So trying to learn to work with that too. Because, I got a kid over there I'm homeschooling, and I got my baby outside with Ashley. So there's a lot of noise happening in the house. And that's been a struggle point for me.
Yeah, this is a good one from Red Flyer Media, who will be at SRF. I'm happy to help anybody with how to create videos or set up equipment or troubleshooting video, live stream, audio with your budget gear.
Oh, that's cool.
That can be a huge inhibition, like the toolbox fallacy is, well, I don't have the right camera yet.
Yeah.
Well, do you have a phone?
No, those are excuses.
Yeah, how are you going to make that work, right? And I get the frustration because sometimes, this camera doesn't talk to this device and I really want them to, but there's usually a way around that.
We were doing this shit before any device talked to any stuff. Go back and look. I've got 4,000 videos on this YouTube channel. We get comments every day on 14-year-old videos. Like, it doesn't have to look good. Just put it out there. You're never going to come in and just be good without recording a bunch of shit you don't show anybody. And if you're not sure about it, just make it private and send the link to 10 of your friends. Actually, I'd send it to 10 strangers because your friends aren't going to tell you the truth, most of them.
Yeah. When I first started doing my YouTube channel, like my camera equipment setup was my cheapest Android phone, because I break phones, so I buy the cheap, shitty ones. And it was on pieces of wood from my daughter's old bed that I drilled together into a tripod target stand camera thingy, and I put shock cord around my phone, and I would record for like 3 hours until like 1 a.m, doing hundreds of takes, and until I realized I needed not do that and just stick to the first take, and no one
the first is always the best. Yeah, the first is always the best. Always. Yeah. I shoot those morning videos on this broke ass phone right here. We've got real cameras, but Rebecca from Red Flyer is going to be able to tell you no matter what, right? Whether you're shooting black cameras or red cameras or whatever the super duper Dragon camera is right now, or we got an XA20. Brandl's got, I don't know, he comes with Pelican cases full of cameras. It doesn't matter. Like, build your content. If you don't have something good to say, it doesn't matter how good your video is.
Yeah, if you have an iPhone, the newer iPhone, you have a better camera setup than I do right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
So Bob is saying we can set up a studio at SRF. Just Bob, FYI, I have a place for that where we have people able to go and do interviews and things. So you are more than welcome to put things in that place if you want to do some recording or streaming. Just because so many content creators are there who want to cross-pollinate, which is part of, that's something we should all tap into at these events, is getting our interviews done. I just saw Toolman Tim yesterday, and he said he had a cut list of who he wanted to talk to at Prepper Camp this weekend. And he's like, I got everybody but one person. like nailed and recorded. And I thought that's actually great because then you because content is something that people always are like, how do I get more content? Well, if you're at an event and you record 25-minute videos, you just got 20 videos out of, and a bunch of relationships out of an event. So it's a pretty cool strategy that you can do.
If you're doing like, if you wanted to do something real simple, go up to their table and each item they have there, just film a YouTube short on them saying stuff about that. And that really, you could probably get 500 videos that weekend, 500 YouTube shorts.
Yeah. Which is not bad. It took me so long to get YouTube shorts into my life. And then when I finally did, the first one took me 2 hours to do. And the second one took me like less than 5 minutes, but it was like I had to go through all of this BS doing it wrong stuff before I was like, oh, I can't believe that first one took me that long.
I did what I did the other day is I recorded 60 YouTube shorts in about 3 hours. And just went into my guest room over there while I had my operator sewing over here. And I I had a list. That's another big thing, guys. If you're like, I want to start making videos, when you're on the couch or whatever with your family, just pull out a notebook or your phone and just make a list of video ideas. Have those, and then when you feel like you got enough, just get in there and record each one and cross them off your list. That's exactly what I'm doing right now, and it gets more done than I've ever gotten done.
That's 100% what I do too. I have a list, and every time I have a random thought, it's on that list, and then I just knock them out.
If I write that shit down, you're never getting the video. When it comes in my head, we have to video it right then, because I'm like, okay, I'm going to eat. Nothing's happening after I eat, at least not when the energy is prior to eating.
Right.
So when I just turn them on right then, that's why you'll see videos different places. They come out better because it's in your head, especially if it irritates, aggravates, or angers you. You're going to get a much better video right then than 5 minutes or 5 hours later. The video's not going to – we've recorded a lot of shit and there's just no energy in it when I wait. If I do it right then, that is a much better video.
Yeah, that's do that too. Jose Rivera asking about when the next shotgun class is.
Thank you for seeing that.
I have one scheduled right now. If you want it during a weekday before January, email me and we can make that happen. Right now it's a 1-day class. So a weekday between Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, before January, email me the day you want it. I will put it on the books. If you want it on a weekend, it's going to have to be after January or starting next year sometime. So email me the weekend date that you can do it. It has to be a Saturday though.
You have lots of rules. No, just kidding.
What's that?
I said you have lots of rules.
You have to, man. When you cut that access off, you'll just have a lot better shit happen.
It's right now. I've started putting in my classes I'm going to do. I haven't posted them on the website yet, but it's like your festival is the first festival I'm doing, and then all of a sudden I'm doing Kentucky Sustainable Living and night operations summit with Green Line, and now I've got like a bunch of other stuff, and I'm hosting people for classes. If you're in Florida, you want to learn radio stuff, Radio Made Easy is coming here.
You'll be here. You'll be here at SRF.
Yep.
I just talked to him today. So
Haas G, yes, this shirt is for sale. It's on the front page of the website. We just got them yesterday. We're already shipping them today. FTSR, are you coming out here for Self Reliance? Are you coming out here in 2 weeks? Are you going to be here?
That's a good question. I am seeing this one on the homepage right now, John.
Okay, well, this one's there. We the people, not we the government. And it says Wake Up America on the back. That's the shirt.
Oh, I found it. If you put We the People in the search, it's right there.
That will be on the homepage in a few minutes here.
Yeah. But there are still some in stock, guys. If you want to get a t-shirt, though, you better get them ordered because he sells out quickly.
We do 120 pieces every Monday. It's very rare that we ever rerun one. We did so many T-shirts that Jason moved here to Tennessee from Texas to, he wanted to move here anyways, but that was the catalyst to him relocating here.
Yep. And I think Bob already knows how to get a class scheduled with you.
Anybody wants to do a class in Ohio, and if you're in Ohio, you should know Bob anyways. If we're having any of these conversations, you should know Bob, and I'm sure Andrew can come out there and do a class, and Bob's got a badass facility.
Bob, yeah, I would love to. And that's one of the things I've been visualizing too, is SRF making me become a traveling instructor. I want to do that. I want to reach more people. And then hopefully, I think it pretty much started like Tactical Response in Tennessee. Now there's dudes that got influence from them that are all over. I hope we get that in Ohio too. But yeah, Bob, look at my website. Tell me what you want. Let's get it scheduled for sometime next year.
Yep. And Rebecca, if you want a specific coffee before SRF, it'd be a really good idea to get it in by Friday this week, because there's a pretty aggressive roasting schedule in the next 2 weeks. And I'm going to Midwest Preparedness Project the weekend before SRF to speak.
And I was going to also say, Nicole, I've been enjoying your coffee. Thank you so much. Thank you for getting it out so fast. I did not expect it out that fast. She was working on a Sunday. Yeah, you were working on a Sunday getting it done.
I always roast on Sunday.
That.
Yeah.
What is your favorite coffee that you sell?
I really love the Hollow Roast Dark. That was my original blend. It's one of my favorites. And then also the Rwanda Dark.
Hollow Roast and Rwanda Dark.
Yeah, those are the two that I like them all, right? But I go towards a dark roast too.
Would you tell them to order it as a whole bean or ground or what?
If you can build whole bean into your life and you care about a quality cup of coffee, the flavors of the coffee start going down within 30 seconds of that bean being ground. But if you cannot build grinding into your life, a ground craft roasted coffee is going to taste better than a ground coffee that sat at Walmart or on a Starbucks shelf for 2 months before you bought it. So because you're closer to when so it kind of depends. Like John, I'm 100% sure he does not grind his coffee and then make his cup and then drink his cup. Like that's not how his world works.
Well, hold on. I mean, everybody listening to this sound has one of these. So they can definitely afford a grinder. I've got 3 of them in the kitchen. You can get them from $15 to $1,500, and you're going to get coffee snobs that are like, you got to use a burr grinder. You can't use one that rotates and the heat and the temperature. It's still you get the shittiest grinder. It's still going to be better than coffee that's been sitting there ground already. And you can also buy whole bean and go to most of these places that sell coffee. I think you can even go to Starbucks and they'll grind it for you, but I know you can take your shit into Costco and use their grinder.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, I've got the $15 grinder. It took me a minute to figure it out because you have to keep the lid on and press down on the lid. But I was like really pissed at it for a while.
Are things hard at home, Andrew? Do you need me to send you a grinder?
No, I got it. Before we got that though, I tried using a like the crucible thingy that you do spices in.
Yeah.
It did not work well.
Oh, you're talking about Mortis. Yeah, I've got one of those. Yeah, we've got a volcanic one and a marble one.
Yeah. So, whole bean is always better. And I like John. Sometimes I have days where he has more days like this, but I have days where there's like the thought of putting the time into grinding coffee seems like a lot.
Oh yeah.
But I bought a coffee maker that's an espresso maker that grinds it, makes the espresso and everything automatically. So it literally takes me 1:45 seconds from turning the machine on to getting my first cup of coffee in the morning.
Oh yeah.
And it's fresh ground. So there are ways around that if you want to do it. And anytime you can do whole bean. Somebody said, what's the best way to store coffee? Unroasted is the best way to store it for a long time.
Yeah.
But if you're storing freshly roasted coffee, whole bean all the way, cool, dark place. And if you put it in your freezer and there's any transmission between freezer smell and that bag of beans, you're going to get like your rotten pork in your coffee flavor, and that's yucky.
Smell creates taste.
I thought that the oils on the coffee beans made it go bad faster. So if you're like prepping and storing it, you wanted them to be roasted.
So James and I had a guy come into town that was a district manager for Starbucks. And he's like, I will trade you coffee for training. And he brought James 1,000 pounds of coffee. And then he brought me 1,000 pounds of coffee. James took all of his coffee and ripped it all open and mixed it into 5-gallon buckets inside Mylar. So I'm sure there is 1,000 pounds of coffee mixed up with no labels of any kind, all commingled. When the day comes that people have to use that coffee, they're not going to give two shits what kind of coffee's in that thing, because we ain't growing coffee around here. I've got all mine in individual bags, and then we Mylar'd it up. I can drink old-ass coffee, and it tastes like coffee. Usually when I'm making coffee, I've got bacon grease on the pan. I've got a big-ass flame coming up around it. I've got 4 eggs sitting here. I'm already outside while the fire's going, cutting basil and oregano and stuff out of the garden. And then I'm also got another pan doing some bacon. So when I make coffee, it's like I drink coffee when I'm eating, and I do all of that shit in about 3 minutes. I've cooked an entire breakfast, and then I'm going to eat it within the next 2 minutes. So it's always in motion on the way somewhere. But I do, there is a huge difference between fresh coffee and not fresh coffee. I got a buddy had a steam pump put in. He's got this big brass coffee thing. It's crazy. Nice. It's like a piece of artwork installed, and it runs off of a steam pump. It's crazy. Totally different. It brings out complete different flavors. But if you don't know, you never know. When you've been the dude opening up coffee cans all your life and drinking grandma's Folger, when you get some real coffee, it even hits different. The energy's different with it. The oils are different. But this kid that came out from Starbucks, he did a coffee tasting. And I'm like, this is some bullshit. Yeah, all my employees can go to this coffee tasting. He brought food to pair and brought all these coffees. Dude, it was fascinating. For 2 hours, he told us about all the history of coffee and the soils and the flavor profiles. And he says that it's, 3 times more flavor profiles than wine. And you're supposed to slurp it because it aerates. Man, I learned it was so interesting to listen to this thing that I thought I didn't give any interest in at all. Right. But it was very cool.
Yeah, it's amazing how you think that about things and then you go do them and you're like, wow, I had no idea there was this much depth.
Yeah,
in this area.
Coffee makers, it would be something I'm interested in, because I've been trying to keep heated plastic out of my food preparation thing. So I don't know, Nicole, if you ever wanted to make a good video, that's what I'm interested in. I'm right now I went to the camping section at Walmart. I bought the thing that they have for coffee there. I took the plastic thingy out. It throws grounds up, and maybe I'm doing it wrong, whatever, but that's just what I'm doing now. And I straight up, I just boil water in it and throw the grounds in.
They have full glass and metal presses, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can also use a pour over cone that's metal, and you're boiling in metal and you're pouring it through the pour over cone. Most of the automated coffee makers have plastic. I have not found an all metal automated coffee maker.
Right.
And that's because a lot of them are pressure driven. So you're going to have at least, and I guess it's a rubber gasket, you're going to have at least that to seal to get the pressure in there.
Or Chemex. Anybody making content should watch Andrew McKinnon, at least a few videos. He makes a bunch of videos just making coffee. And you'll have no interest at all, but you'll be like, holy shit, I just watched 20 of this guy's videos.
Yeah. I don't know. I love coffee.
They're saying the BPA stuff, they've changed it from BPA, so everything's BPA free. I just saw some stuff saying that you're still getting all the plastic, and one of the biggest culprits of it are those plastic coffee lids that they put on top of those cups they hand you at Starbucks and everywhere else. Biggest transfer of plastics to your body is through those things.
And that's why you should learn how to make a great cup of coffee at home and not use one of those plastic lids. It is, that's a transition a lot of people did in 2020. When the shutdowns hit, I flatlined business-wise for a couple weeks, 0 orders, which I never have 0 orders, but I had 0 orders then. And I was like, oh no, I guess I need to think about what I'm going to do when I grow up because I have no orders. And I just started talking about how to make coffee at home and how to get a premium cup of coffee at home. Somebody called me and said, here's the deal, Nicole, I've never made my own cup of coffee at home.
Wow.
I need you to tell me how to do that. And I'm like, because to me, it's like, well, you put the grounds in the water. But if somebody's never done that, they're worried about doing it wrong, and they want it to taste good and all of that stuff, and they don't know what to buy. And I get it. So
it's something you don't appreciate because you always do it anyways.
We're kind of back there again, though, because right now people, what I see and what I've been talking with some of my friends who run businesses is there's been a marked slowdown in the last 2 months in purchasing. And what we perceive to be going on is like things are tight and people are kind of doing the initial freeze where you just, maybe I shouldn't spend money on anything. And then you start deciding what you're going to do. Right. And one of the things from a coffee standpoint that you can do is stop buying it at the barista location and put, for 1/10 of the cost, you can buy really good beans, have a really good cup of coffee you made at home. And that is actually a budget decision, but you still get the premium coffee. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of what we've been thinking about.
I think a lot of people buying coffee out at the barista, it's not even that they like coffee. It's just a destination and an addiction. They don't even give a shit about the coffee. They just out of habit go to this place now. And when you realize you're doing it, you realize how much time you actually have back in your life when you stop doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mocha pots make great coffee. Those are the ones you put on the stovetop and it goes from the bottom to the top. So it's like an espresso experience.
Have you guys tried these yet?
No. What are those?
I sent it to Amanda, John, so she may have gotten some, but this is the most refreshing thing when you get out of the sun or if you're outside working. Lynn, who I sent to you, she got me addicted to these. And it's real lime juice and carbonated water. That's it.
That sounds pretty good.
No, I don't drink anything out of a can.
Yeah, that's smart.
Not for any reason. I just don't drink anything out of a can. I drink plenty out of this plastic, which is probably worse than the can. But
wow, $16 coffee drinks. I don't even know what that looks like.
I think it's coming. I mean, everything's up in price. We just don't even pay attention to it anymore.
Yeah. I realized how insulated I was from prices a few months ago when I went grocery shopping, like actual grocery shopping on a trip. And I was like, wow, that seems like a lot of money for a little bit of grocery. And so I started tracking my homestead expenses a lot more carefully to see what my grocery bill really is, because that's the homestead expenses here rather than the grocery bill. But the summary is I spend a lot less on the homestead food than I would at the store right now.
I got
go ahead.
I got my computer sitting on top of our deep freeze right now that Ashley was like, we have to get one. Like, things are so expensive. We have to freeze stuff. Because our refrigerator freezer, for some reason, is just another part of the refrigerator. It's not freezing anything. So I'm not sure with that. We just got another deep freeze, and she is so happy from that.
Yeah.
What was the thing about drones someone posted?
Okay, so I had a question for you that came up. It was a while ago. They were wondering, do you use drones for patrol and tactical?
Oh, so we talk about that. And so, okay, we have a list of things that we want to do in an advanced patrolling class, and that using drones is one of them. I am not a drone expert, but dude, if you can get into drones, there are so many things you could use for that. Think about it. Okay, there's bad guys over there. Why don't we send a drone instead of people? Like, it would be a great thing to have. And you could check out your property a lot faster with a drone, right, than you could with people. So it would be a great thing to implement. I am not the guy to talk to on how to do it, but I want to learn more. And I'd like to, in the advanced patrolling class, figure out a way we can integrate something with drones, even if it was hiding from a drone. That would be cool. But
so the beauty of drones is you don't have to have a super expensive drone. You do get better camera and video with a more expensive drone. But even the cheapy drones, how many times have you been stuck on traffic on the interstate and you're like, why are we sitting here? Within 1 minute, I can have the drone up and see what is happening. Where's that smoke coming from? Is it coming this way, or is it just somebody burning some leaves? Has that guy's leaf pile got out of control and burnt down his fence and heading towards my direction? Where is that thing that sounds like a bulldozer running, and is it heading towards me? I can know all of that within 1 minute. Oh, there's a major storm coming. Where is it? I can know all of that from the drone. And we fly the drone at least every other day. I put that thing up in the air and use it. Every time I leave the property, I have a drone with me. And there's, if we go out 6 weekends in a row, I flew the drone at least 4 times. We use it all the time. It's so simple.
Yeah. Seems like a pretty valuable little tool, not just for planning your permaculture plan.
And everybody uses drones against you, as Rebecca is saying. How do they know when you have so much property and gates that they can't come on your property to assess your property? How do they know to assess your property and raise your taxes? How do they know there's a structure there? How do they know you ran power from one place to another? They're using them against you. You might as well get it on your radar and to your advantage, because whoever's coming after you, they're going to have them. They are. Every law enforcement agency out there right now is using drones, and not these drones we have. They've got a dude came in here from police department the other day. He's got a drone bigger than this table I'm sitting in front of. It is a big DJI, and the cost on it's like $22,000. Holy! They've got multiples of them, and this is out here in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, even you can use it for like simple stuff. Trey, the owner of the range that I teach at, we have cows on that range, right? And so he uses the drone to chase the cows back into their area all the time, so he doesn't have to go out there and drive around.
Yep.
So FTSR says FPV drones are the best advanced patrol tool. You can attach an action camera lens to an FPV and get really high quality imagery.
So FTSR, are we able to monitor that right away? Like when I fly the drone, it talks back to a smart monitor controller. So I know right away, I don't have to bring it back and review footage. So I'm assuming that you're syncing that GoPro to something and watching it real time? ?
Yep. Good question. Does SOE have night vision? Does the SOE night vision case fit a drone?
It won't fit my drones. I'm sure it will fit some drones.
Yep.
But the real, I could sell you a case for that thing, but there's so many good hard shell zippered clamshell pouches that are form fitted to those things. And the truth is, I probably own 20 cases for drones that aren't mine. I don't ever put that damn thing in a drone. It sits right in a tool bag, right there with the charger. And when I walk out the door and take it, it sits in the seat or in the floor next to me. That thing's never in a case. And I've crashed it into I had it underwater. Like on Christmas Eve, it was in a pond underwater. And that thing's still flying.
That's really nice. I had a friend fly one over my place and get it stuck in a really tall black walnut tree.
Yep.
Over water. And eventually we got it out of the tree into the water. So cool. Well, what else would you guys like to discuss today? We've covered homestead patrolling, how to start your business, the hardest things you had to overcome, and most importantly, using drones as part of your patrolling strategy.
Well, let's mention this real quick, because this is what I'm fighting with, right? I can stay busy on this property 20 hours out of the day. Me being busy, does that pay the bills? Me being busy. Like I was unpacking a bunch of boxes of Velcro and plastic. Does that pay anything? I was, packing orders. Does that pay anything? I'm doing, whatever. Does that pay anything? Just like me building content. I'm going to build content for 8 hours. We're going to record no bullshit 8 hours of video tomorrow. That pays something. But all the minuscule shit we do as business owners, like when you said 3 hours, I don't remember what it was you said took 3 hours. Would you be better off paying somebody to build your shorts for 3 hours while you sit on a sewing machine and send something out in 3 hours? I assume you can make close to $1,000 in 3 hours, probably. Would you be better off having that $1,000 come in and then pay some kid or some person, right? I really struggled with that. I'm like, man, this is a lot of money. I put a ton of money into content creation for all this year. And it's still not quite making money, but we're almost to the point where it's making money now.
Yeah,
so
I still think you're getting so many new eyes that you're making money off it. You can't see for sure.
Yeah, it's coming from so many avenues.
Right. I'd say like another big thing with like getting your business started and that hurdle you need to go through is just like believing in yourself to do it. Like, oh, I don't know, that overly humble, where you're afraid to get started and you need like someone's permission. Like that was me. Like John told me to buy a sewing machine. I showed him some chest rigs I had hand sewn, modified stuff on it. He's like, why aren't you making this out of Cordura?
You showed me some bullshit macrame. It looked good, but motherfucker, you're not living in a cave.
But and that was it. You know, it was like, yep, you're right. I should get a sewing machine. You know,
what did I say? I said, do you have electricity at your house?
Yep.
But even if like someone else is doubting you, like fuck them. Like if you have an idea of a thing you want to start, I don't care if it's your own mother, your own father, who's telling you not to. Just do it. A big thing too is like you only got one life, so how are you gonna live it? Are you gonna live it based off of what someone else is telling you can and cannot do? Fuck that. And your friends that tell you, oh, it's not a good idea, cut them out. They're not your friend anymore. They're trying to hold you back and make you a loser like them.
You said people who are doubting you.
Mm-hmm.
Get rid of those people. It is literally more important to lose negativity than it is to even add positivity. When you cut those people off, that person that shows up at your house and downloads you with a bunch of bullshit about people you don't know, remove access. And people, I don't know why it's a one-word answer. No, I do not have time for this. I don't, and it really stood out when a buddy of mine was here and he's like, a couple of us were talking and he's like, what do you think about this? He's like, I don't do drama. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, I don't know these people you guys are talking about. He goes, when's the last time you saw them? Why are we even having this conversation? I just bought an airplane. Let's go look at my airplane. Like, that's the kind of dude, right? When you say, hey, I think I want to do this, and somebody's like, okay, when are you going to do this? Here's 3 ways to do it. Which one are we doing? Those are the guys you want to be around.
I was having a conversation this past weekend, and it was about like, hey, don't post shit. You know, if it's something you heard from someone about someone else, don't post that shit. You know, like, and I was like, look at all the fucking drama we've seen within our own culture, right? You'd think that like dudes that do the shit that we do would be like the most badass motherfuckers in the world, but they make way too much time for nonsense, you know? So it's like, I'm making a rule of that. If like, even if it's a conversation with John, if it's something I heard about another person about a thing, it's just not a part of the conversation because it doesn't fucking help anyone anyways, unless it's about John, you know?
Yeah, the other part of that is go to the source.
Yeah, exactly.
So if somebody's like, somebody said something that said something that said something about your decision at whatever.
Well, yeah.
Well, go back to the original someone in that and don't be like, why'd you say that? Be like, hey, can you tell me more about what you think about this?
Yeah, and
they don't even know that you heard the thing. They don't need to know you heard the thing, but that can help eliminate misunderstandings before you have them and keep the relationships more direct. Like I found out, I didn't realize this till yesterday. I mean, I kind of realized it. I'm pretty direct, and I rub people the wrong way when I'm direct. And I don't care, but when I'm direct or give a quick answer to something that's just the answer, not hi, how are you? I'm literally doing you what I can do, what I have time for, which is getting you the answer to the question you asked me.
Right.
That's why I don't talk on the phone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because if you text me, what are you doing this weekend? Not whatever you're about to ask me to do. If it was something you thought I wanted to do, you would have just said, hey, do you want to go?
Hey, do you want to jump out of a plane on Saturday?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Get rid of all negativity. Like I don't fucking have friends that don't go to training classes. Like think how cool my friends are because of that. Like I only hang out with people that do the same shit that I do. You know, like John, he's like, I'm not going to fucking travel to go to a thing. Like if you don't come here to see me, like you're not actually a part of it, you know? And it makes your life a lot simpler, a lot more direct. You can stay focused and you have no negative bullshit in your life holding you back. And that's something that like I've learned a lot from John too. That's helped me.
Well, the other thing is if somebody says something that you can take 2 ways, one's negative and one's positive, even if they meant it the negative way, take it the positive way, because they're holding on to baggage forever about their negative thing and you're not, and you've moved on.
Jeff said something. When we did one of our first or second podcasts, Jeff had said something that really struck home. He's like, man, we haven't been back in San Diego in like 20 years. He goes, there's people in San Diego that are mad about things we did 20 years ago, and we can't even remember their names, right? Most of the people who are mad, the person you're mad at, they usually don't even, like, we don't even know. Like that, and that's not just me. I mean, that could be something back over that way, but it's just so far past. I mean, that's more than half of your life. Half of your life has passed, right? So let it go, man. It's I do the, like, I don't know if it's swipe left, swipe right, but I'll be sitting in bed or something thinking about something, and I'll be like, swipe it out of my head. I don't have time to think about this right now. I'm supposed to be asleep.
Yeah. One practice I need to get back to, but what I was doing that made me feel amazing was, like, when I wake up, immediately just thank God for my family, for my business, for all the good things. It just, so immediately, first thing that happens to me in the morning is I feel gratitude, and the whole day is good because of that. I'm not expecting an easy day, but I'm, like, from the beginning, a better state of mind. And I got that from, a cool book that billionaires read, Yeah,
Frisella says it. They all say it. Yeah. Milet says it, all of them, every one of them.
Well, if you think about it, we all have pretty cool lives.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot to appreciate about each of our lives. And, you go into business for yourself and you think, I'm going to control my schedule. And, like, I do, but what that means is that I have commitments I've made that mean I'm working on those commitments.
Right.
Which means I can't just screw off necessarily and go whatever.
If you think about it, I don't have friends that aren't business owners.
Yeah.
I mean, I have, like, my 10 closest friends all own businesses. And I mean, you know most of them, Andrew, Nicole. I mean, I will be friendly with people, but we're not spending a lot of time together with people that aren't running some sort of business.
Right. It's hard to, because it's like it's just like I can't hang out with people that don't do this shit, right? They just don't think like I do. If I say one thing, it means nothing to them. Same with you, John. When you were talking about the shit that you do every day, because you live your business, you live and breathe it every day. You can't talk to someone who doesn't do that. Like, you can, but it's not the same conversation. And the things you want to talk about are not going to happen there anyways.
Yeah. I don't go places to have fun. What's that? Fun. You're 38. You should probably go make some money.
Yeah.
Making money is fun, John. Okay. You may have addressed this earlier in the live stream, but would I be able to camp on property or nearby?
Not you. Not you. Yes, you can. Nicole's going to tell you how.
Okay. There is tent camping on compound for Zero to Hero with Ham Radio, for the Self Reliance Festival, for the Chicken Processing Workshop, and for the Homestead Patrolling class. Tent camping. If you have something other than a tent, we can tell you places nearby where you can put that, and you can walk to the compound very easily. There are awesome campsites close by. Birdsong is one that a lot of people go to that have, I think, heated bathrooms and showers. And there are, of course, hotels in the area. A lot of those may be already sold out, but if you go to selfreliancefestival.com under FAQ, there's a whole list of lodging options in the area, including Airbnb and VRBO. So lots of ways to stay places in the area.
So Lardy 58, when I said swipe left or whatever, I'm not talking about having my phone in my hand. I'm talking about just having thoughts in my head that do not add to what I want to accomplish or being positive or heading in the direction I want to head. I literally say that. I'm like, why am I having this conversation? Get rid of this. Swipe it out of there. Okay, what do we need to be focused on? Focus on something positive instead of the negative. Because when you do negative shit, whether you believe this or not, it's literally like a light switch. When you operate in the negative, you've got a lot more negative shit coming to you. When you operate in the positive, it could be as simple as doing something nice for a stranger. When you do that, you start to notice things happening better in your life. It really is. It is like turning a light switch on and off.
Whatever you're focusing on, you see more of. If you
what is that? The reticulative activating system? What's that called?
I don't know.
When you see a blue car, when you buy a blue car, all of a sudden you see them everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like for me, finding Ashley, it was, I want a young, hot blonde, who lifts weights, into guns, gonna carry guns, blah, blah, blah. I made a list that long of what I wanted and things I would not negotiate and things that were unacceptable. And I start seeing young, hot blondes everywhere. I'm like, ooh, this is cool. Ashley was no shit my super like on Tinder within a mile of me. She asked me to go see a movie that night, and it's a cool story, but like no shit, it was just like seeing that, when I wanted I got 2 AKs in there. I visualized one. I was like, I want a Norinco, I want a cool Chinese AK. I'm at fucking Alumni Weekend Attack Response. Matt from Prepare Patriots, like, I'm selling this. I'm like, I'm buying that. Don't talk to
You're not. You're selling that to me.
No shit. When I got back, I was like, I want an M92, but like, I don't want rail or anything, but I do want the Blackwood, no rail on here, and I want the Midwest Industries flash hider and a folding brace. And then when I got back from Alumni Weekend, I was like, hey, let me stop at the pawn shop, say hi to Robin, and that gun, exactly that setup, right there on the wall for cheaper than it would have normally been. And like I bought like over and over and over and over things I want, things I am like focused on. They just appear in my life. So I don't know. I may sound like a weirdo for that, but
it's
whatever.
not weird at all. If you focus on the things that you want, you figure out how to get them.
Yeah,
and you see the opportunities for them. It's not necessarily that you're conjuring it out of air, right? Like I found an endless pool yesterday that I might buy. And I've only been working on it for 2 months.
It's only weird to people who won't try it.
Right.
The dude that's like, well, it's Eeyore, right? He doesn't have a tail because they had to pin one on him because he doesn't even have a good tail. It's that person, man. And you can try to infect that person with positivity. But it gets to a point where it's too much work. It's too damn hard to be your friend. Yeah. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what your sexual I don't care about none of that shit if we're all here for the same purpose, right? You can walk in. I mean, you'll see it when you come here to SRF. Everybody from everywhere is here. We don't give a shit. But when you got to be the dude that's like, I'm a vegan. I'm a vegan. I'm a vegan. We know you look like you're dying. We know you're a vegan. You don't have to tell us. We know. We don't care. You're too fucking hard to be a friend with. I've got about 10 of those.
Yeah.
I can count them on my hands.
And the people that are negative too, they'll talk about things that are going bad for them all the time. And every time you talk to them, I'm getting fucked over. If this happens, then I'm fucked and blah, blah, blah. Cry baby bullshit. Do not be fucking friends with them.
We get people all the time. Hey, I'm here for a job. Cool. Where were you working at? Why aren't you working there? Well, my boss fucked me over. Like, look, I don't have a job for you, but let me tell you, the next job you go to ask for, don't say any negative shit. It didn't work out. Whatever it is, you can say that. I'm looking to make a change. I'm looking to just, I want to advance in my life. But if you go into a place talking shit about your past, there's nothing coming. And if they do hire you or they accept whatever happens, you're going to infect that group, and that's going to be the next person you're talking shit about every single time.
And I'm not even perfect about it. I still have people that I'm like, wham, but that's it. It's wham. No one fucking cares. And someone's had it harder than you. So it's a conscious thing, that you have to be conscious of not doing it and do the right thing. And it becomes subconscious eventually.
Yeah. The most powerful thing is just, I don't know who that is.
Yep.
Somebody's mad at me on the internet. I don't know who that is.
You literally don't know who it is.
His screen name says Farts 25. I mean, what do you care?
Yeah. I told somebody, if I'm mad at you, you'll know. If you think I'm mad at you, I'm not mad at you. That's because when I'm mad, it's very clear. I actually lost my voice on Saturday because I got mad at one of my cats. So you'll know.
Damn, you were mad at that cat. That's lost your voice yelling at a cat.
Resting bitch face. It's just my face, man. It's just my face. What NRW classes do you have coming up, Andrew?
What is NRW?
I don't know.
I think
you know.
I think he meant new.
New. Okay. What new classes?
Okay. So hopefully we'll get something in the works with Jerry Nuts. We're going to get his website built. He's taking over. I'm just going to be like cheat codes on how to build your website. Look, this is how I did this thing. But he'll manage that. Hopefully we do that. The classes we've been talking about, Chuck, and we should get some stuff scheduled for Florida. right now, I more need openings on my schedule, which are going to come next year. This year, I'm pretty much about to post my other classes, but there's only like 4 or 5 I'm posting for the rest of the year, unless I do weekday stuff. The classes I want to put out the most are force on force and medical, but I don't want to be the one teaching the medical class because I'm not the medical background guy. I want to take enough medical training where people would want to take a medical class from me. But I figured I'll work with people like you, Jerry, other good people on the medical side. For me, the one class I want to put out the most is the stress inoculation force on force class. So it's going to be, if you imagine, Nicole, you took fighting pistol, right? First, you had to practice drawing without shooting a few times, right? We're going to do that against a person. And then we're going to draw and we're going to shoot against a person. Then you'll be clearing a type 2 malfunction against a person, right? So basically imagine doing drills like that. Every scenario is a shoot scenario. Only you're doing it against people the whole time. So you're going to get shot a lot. But you'll come out of it a lot more confident, a lot more inoculated to the stress. If you read, and Nicole, it'd be great for you, On Combat by Dave Grossman, they say that police officers in shootings will miss 80% of the rounds they fire. So basically 2 out of 10 rounds they shoot actually hit the target in a gunfight. After they are winning consistently force on force scenarios, they end up hitting 9 out of 10 rounds on the target, and they get investigated as to why they're killing so many people. And it's a stress thing, bullets flying are stressful.
And I 100% understand why, because the first time you come across an adrenaline situation, you realize all of your faults. Like the thing at tactical response that was the most useful for me, and it was in the medical class, was they stressed me out so bad I had a panic attack and collapsed. And man. I was like, oh, it's good to know that happens to me now when somebody's not actually dying, so I can figure out what to do not to have that happen.
My hands get shaky.
Yeah.
Even if I'm clear in the head, my hands are shaky.
I've pretty much never had a panic attack since, but it was like, maybe I shouldn't drink so much coffee. I know, blasphemy. But
that was in medical?
That was in medical, yeah.
Yeah, that's why I said medical again.
Yeah, medical.
First time. What's your opinion versus lone wolf versus community?
Yeah, I was going to bring that up. So what's the view on being a lone wolf versus being in a community?
You need people to be able to accomplish more. Like, I think everyone on screen right now can say that we've gotten help from other people to get to where we are today. And like John said, he needs at least 20 people to secure his compound. And that's where it's like you have to find a way to build that community. So my thing is like, I have, an alumni group on Facebook. I tell everyone, and they don't fucking do it enough, but I tell everyone, post what you do for a living and your phone number and everything. I'm just going to make a list. That way, when you need like an HVAC guy, an alumni comes to your house, not, someone who went to prison for armed robbery. You are getting a more quality person. I think building that community, the best way to do that is going to like training classes. I've got one of my students, he's been going to different prepper things and radio things. And every time he gets back from it, he's like, dude, these people just don't think like we do, So I think taking training classes will help you build your community, and then just trying to grow it. Find any way, have an event. Let's all go out to dinner this day. Hey guys, come to my house. We're going to shoot each other with airsoft guns, whatever you can think of. And that's something I'm trying to focus on more this coming year is building that community, making it tighter, and having some organization where if a hurricane comes, and you're going to get fucked up from the hurricane here, you can be like, hey, I need a place to go. And someone goes, come here. And they're, it's somewhere where you can get to. I believe you need a community. Like when I was room clearing in the shoot house level 1 class, it's a struggle point, right? Because me and my one buddy, who's also tactical response alumni, him and I could work together great. And we put in another 2-man team with us. Now we're a 4-man team. It gets hard, but you got to just learn to work with it. And things are not going to be perfect. That's actually that's a part of the Homestead Patrolling class. Like I said, establishing a hierarchy. And we also talk about what the Marine Corps has for the 14 leadership traits, being able to adopt that. It, as much as it may be easy as a lone wolf or just with one person, you're just one person,
What happens to a lone wolf in the woods? Like literally what happens to a lone wolf in the woods?
Yeah. They're alone. So they
die. They die.
That lone wolf shit might work for you when your car's broken down and you have to get from, 200 miles home or something. That's probably going to be a lone wolf situation. But you have kids, Andrew, and a wife, as do I. That's not even a possibility. That time might happen at one point, but that's just a small piece of that.
Yeah, I told the story this weekend at an event of what really made Holler Neighbors into a family that works well in a crisis was when the tornadoes ripped through in March 2020 and knocked out all communications and the power, which is a fairly minor thing. It's not that hard to survive that, but we didn't know what was going on and we didn't have a way to know what was going on and so we just had like a neighbor meeting and figured it out and divided up roles. And now anytime anything happens, it's like, oh yeah, I'm in this role again. That's what I do.
That's awesome.
So I was lucky, because the tornadoes didn't hit us.
And think about too, like if you're on the edge of going to Self Reliance Festival right now, like do it. Because like they've said, you go meet people that live right around the corner from you. I've got a student that I met at Tactical Response. There was 3 of us in this class, Advanced Fighting Pistol, and he lives 15 minutes from me. Never knew him before that, but we are so like-minded. He's such a smart dude. Now he trains with me, and we talk, regularly enough. We're both busy people, but it's like I wouldn't have met him anywhere else. So going to Self Reliance Festival could be that thing that you might find a community that's already made. That's exactly what you're looking for,
Yeah, we dedicate time to connecting people from different regions from the stage. That's something we do that other festivals don't do. And we do that so that you can go home and have your community. And it's really fun to watch them grow. Okay. John, have you considered a pack of patrol canines for your compound?
No, Joel comes out here with all of his, trained bite dogs and protection dogs. I've got livestock guardian dogs. We've got barkers. They hit the fence. Some of them will bite you. One of them won't. But I don't have like a pack of patrol canines. We've got an external fence and an inner perimeter fence and dogs in multiple areas, but probably not what you're envisioning.
I know John, and I've met his dogs, and I would never climb his fence.
No, my dogs will bite the shit out of you. No doubt.
No way.
We intentionally did not socialize those dogs when they were young. They were around 3 people. Yeah, that also is an issue sometimes when I have to have somebody come and deal with dogs when I'm not here. That's a double-edged sword.
Yep. How often do you recommend combat training? Once or twice a week, a month? How often?
So I saw that, and I'm pulling up a thing that I've been writing, and I want to make a video on it later. Okay. So it's as much as you can. Okay. And that also means as much as you can afford. Now, it's a lot about what you're taking too. So what you already know and what your background is does matter. But I would, if you haven't taken a class before, I would just take a class on that thing anyways. For instance, I mentioned immediate action medical and how I had gone through combat lifesaver in the Marine Corps, and I got so much out of immediate action medical. When I was in the Marine Corps, I was not a civilian. When I was in the Marine Corps, I had to worry about, where his pulse was so I could tell a corpsman a certain number and whatever, so that when they get on the helicopter, things can go faster. Doesn't matter anymore, right? So it's a big context change that happens. So I'm going to recommend, even if you have prior training in this thing, like if you're an EMT, still take like immediate action medical attack response. If you were a rifleman, take a rifle class. Okay. But these are the in order in my brain right now, the things I would want you to cover initially, and then you can go in any direction you want, but I'm going to make a second list for that. But I'd want you to take pistol. So you're taking pistol training and getting all the gear with it. So when I say this thing, it means and the training for it. Pistol, medical, force on force, right out of the gate. That is trifecta tactical response, right? Then low light, and then radio. Radio is radio made easy, okay? Then rifle. And I put radio before rifle training because, I mean, you can probably shoot a rifle pretty decently. You're just not the greatest at running it, whatever. But your rifle, skills don't matter when there's no cell phones working and you need an ambulance or you need to get someone over here to help you. The radio matters. Okay, so after radio, then rifle, then team tactics, then night vision. Huge investment, but it's a superpower and it makes you better than other people at night. After that, hand-to-hand and de-escalation. So and you can do hand-to-hand anytime, you want. You can go find a local jiu-jitsu gym or something like that, or take Craig Douglas's ECQC class, but get something with that so that if you are in a fight where you probably shouldn't be using something that could kill them, you can still win. And what I meant by de-escalation, this could just be a book you read, like How to Win People and Influence Others, but being able to actually talk through a situation, calm people down. It could be people around you during an emergency. The way your voice communicates the words really matters. If you're all super excited and scared, so are they. If you're nice and calm, you're like, all right, guys, I just need you to back up real quick. Hey, go get me this bag from over here. Go get me some brighter flashlights. You start working on doing medical. The things are a lot better. Then if you're like, everyone get the fuck away right now. You, kill it, So the way you communicate really matters. Also, that could be if a dude's wanting to fist fight you at a bar and you're able to talk your way out of it, that's better than getting in a fist fight. So those things I'd want you to cover first. And to keep it real simple, do the trifecta: pistol, medical, force on force, and then start worrying about other stuff. And train as often as you can. You'll love it. Minimum, take a medical class every year. You're most likely to use that.
Fitness in between all of that. You can do fitness every day for free.
Yes.
So many people want to have that conversation and they're not doing shit for their health.
Yeah.
Which fits with this question. How in shape does a 60-year-old woman need to be to do a fight class?
Well, there's plenty of out of shape people doing it, so you'll be able to do it.
You'll be fine. I can say from fighting pistol, which takes some physical demand, that I saw many levels there too, and you just scale it as best you can. Like I took it twice. The first time I took it, I was not in as good a shape as my second time, and I learned more in the second time anyway. But
a good instructor is never going to make you do anything that would hurt you, and you are also in control of what you do. So if you are uncomfortable with a thing, you don't have to do it. I have Lynn, who I sent. I don't know her age, but she's old. She's like up in my mom's age bracket, right? She did 2 days of pistol training with me, took a couple days off, 2 days of rifle training with me, took a couple days off, did 6 days at tactical response doing the trifecta, and now she's signed up for ECQC. That's where you're rolling around, wrestling a dude and shooting them and stabbing them. And now I'm going to look like a giant pussy because she's going to take it before I do, but I'm going to get them scheduled to come down to Florida. I hope.
That's Craig Douglas Shiv Works, if you guys aren't familiar with it.
Yep. All right. Well, let's go once around the horn. We're coming up on 2 hours here, and we'll start with you, John.
I do a live every night on 9 o'clock on YouTube. If you can't find me, it's because you're not trying hard enough. If you want to hear the conversation, we're there. I show all the gear that's made every day. It typically sells out. We have an email list and a text app. If you want to see what we're doing, we show you every single day. The conversation goes from anywhere from an hour to 2 hours, and we talk about whatever people who jump on there want to talk about. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, we're all over YouTube. And the website's SOE Tactical Gear, and you can find everything from that website. You can find all those other platforms, and that's what we do. We sell T-shirts and gear and stuff like that.
Jay, what do you got?
CombatArcherTraining.com. You can see my classes and the gear I make. If you want to communicate with me, there's an email link there, but it's info@combatarchertraining.com. You can also direct message me on Instagram. You will find the best content from me on YouTube. Go back and watch all my stuff. Like, for instance, I have an AR-15 malfunctions video that sometimes when you search that, it's the very first video that pops up on YouTube. And you will find me on TikTok also.
All right. I'm Nicole Sauce, and you can find all my stuff at NicoleSauce.com. But if you're hankering for some good fall coffee that's roasted to order, it's the freshest you're going to get in the mail. Go to hollowroast.com right now and get your order in. Super yummy. Or come to Self Reliance Festival and you can get some there at the Hollow Roast booth. Guys, we will see you next week.